Oh, this is just a beautiful plane. I got my wish, a better one, cutting north to south, and it's a beautiful one in terms of map selection. It is the final Erangel map here of our set of 6, and after this one will be a third of the way done through our scoring and through our maps. Looking out for some big dogs in terms of Mira and Grove Street to see if they can replicate their performance or if it's a new team that earns themselves the chicken dinner.
Currently, we're looking for some underdog stories in the process. We love to see those, you know. Maybe we're going to see teams that are at the very bottom come out on the very top this time around. But as it currently stands, we have to let these actions speak louder than words. And, well, let's see Empire Gaming and what their plan and strategy for now may be.
It's all about that approach towards where you want to float to, where you want to fight, and that extra kind of run over in terms of the cars, where you get the one-on-one potential, where you get the vehicle domination. And it looks like Empire Gaming, who actually unfortunately went into that last map with only 3 players in terms of their total. So they'll get their 4th member, they've got 2 vehicles already, and they're looting up and ready to go.
Looting up and ready to go. Already picking themselves up some very nice ARs on the way. Going to the bathroom, having a bit of privacy. Let's give them some space, as Empire are currently just going around, scouting about. Again, going to be spread out to get as much as they can, so each player can loot a building of their own, maybe an entire village. And, well, let's take a look at what none other than Barbarians are going to be having themselves around with a bit of some fancy cars around. You know, we love the purple tint.
I love the different combinations in terms of skins. You got a lot of chance to bring out the different stylistic choices here. And with all 16 teams in and full with 64 alive. Oh, little flip, we're doing road tricks.
Whoa. Rocket League? No, this is PUBG. You're mixing up games, hot diggity. Well, currently entering the building, there's not going to be anyone around. He's fighting that space, but looking to pick up a gun. He hasn't really gotten the loot, but that mode of transportation does seem to be show a lot of importance, not only in the early game, but also keep in mind, in that late game, it can provide a lot of protection, but also get you into the zone faster than it would on foot.
It's a lot of good tools that it provides you, and especially those multi-seaters can keep the team together. TBA, who fell out at 15th in that last map, not having the first game number 1 they wanted. They've got a chance to bounce back here.
Oh, first 5 minutes, a broad spectrum of where everyone currently lies. 2 of the players here from TBA being quite close to each other, or maybe, just maybe, they will be facing an opponent in any second. Now, we have some approach coming out, but no one's really looking to actively gain that gunfight. Again, you don't want to be the first one to fall.
You want to place inside that top 7. That's where the real points lie. And we saw some different teams in terms of the approaches. 4 Dogs and Empire, I don't know what it is, maybe magnets inside of the backpacks, but they have just been drawn to each other in back-to-back games.
A powerhouse to a powerhouse, a force to be reckoned with, and yet another to oppose it, as these are going to be 2 very dangerous teams looking at each other. We have 2 players from Empire, while only B-Sid on the side of 4 Dogs now looking to get some of those early shots in. Again, these windows will be his major openings of connecting some dots and getting some kills, but the entirety of Empire, they're starting to group up, and you do not want to get sandwiched in between these 3.
Some big dogs for sure, some big kill potential for Empire Gaming. They've got a good little battle back in terms of that upper inventory, the grenade inventory. 3 frags, now 2 smokes, and 2 flashbangs as well. That could be really good to help out your exit. But I don't know that Michael actually knows that there's a team around. Neither team has really made a peep in the night.
Not just yet, and Michael holding a bit of explosive artillery, you could call it, just maybe waiting for someone to come right in front of his line of sight. And as our Gary will be finding the opening kill onto MFP, they will not only get the first player, but at the same time, get the first kill to be administered.
I think Gary's story is a little bit interesting. That last game, 5 kills in total, but nothing in terms of the placement points. And you know what, when you talk about those placement points, they seem like the more consistent route to go. But if you're a team that opens up every single map with some kill points, those are guaranteed. You aren't necessarily going to have to fight for them in the late game if you've earned them in the early game. So lots of different strategies to go for. And you know what, I'm just here for all the bloodshed that Aogiri's going to bring.
Oh, they're definitely going to be bringing it. I imagine they already have a pool ready just to fill every single player's corpse up in and get themselves some nasty points. Now, Mira, again, is going to be taking that initiative of trying to stay close, but at the same time being as spread out as possible, find opportunities, group up when they need to, and make sure to get those kills. Again, team fights here do manage to give a lot of points, and at the same time, they tend to take away your players and teammates, which is the greatest grave of them all. Now, currently being on a bit of a ride, everyone's just riding around, having a bit of a bout, but no one yet has found a real hotspot.
No true fights to go back and forth just yet, as it looks like I might have to change my mind. 7 Gaming approaching a house that, I don't know if they don't know or not, it's occupied already. Some players from Samler going to be bouncing around, ready to fight them. 7 Gaming, one of the powerhouses here, the lean around the corner. Hollow is looking for it. Next wants the swing, but he'll get knocked quickly. Samler, bounce back kill. That's their first point of the tournament.
Better late than never. Samler will claim one off of 7 Gaming. One of the teams I was really hoping to see perform, but currently they're taking loss after loss, catching a bit of strays, and that's the opening for them. Some shots being exchanged long range, and Samler not having much of an issue. They haven't lost a tick of blood and looking to still continue down this line of absolutely dominating each player that stands in their way, as 7 Gaming might be the first team that could be falling victim to them.
Got this little high ground position, but don't really want to fall at this point, so popping some smokes here to help aid in terms of the rotation, or maybe just a disguise in terms of where they think they want to send their opponent's vision off to. Just 2 players fallen so far in our map number 2. As a reminder, we still have got a lot more maps to go. Still 4 more after this one, and boy, 3 more different map selections as well.
Storm on request. Earlier in the vicinity on a rendezvous to be taken out in a matter of seconds as an entire team. Now looking to change that outcome and maybe flip the table on its head and have some extra points for themselves. While they haven't gotten those kills, they've definitely been securing themselves not only a good position, but in the meanwhile very cautious of what each entry to their position may be, and also making sure all ground is covered and no one slips by their defense.
They're a team that, like we said, loves to play a little bit slower, honestly, to start. Playing as that 4-stack, looking for any early pick they can find, but they just love to play from high ground positions inside of zone. That's where they pride themselves on getting to great positions, finding their way towards the end zone, and then just getting themselves some guaranteed points. Aogiri, we talked about their fighting potential. It looks like one of their members kind of cut off in this building as engagement might be coming.
Just might it be. Switch over to Typhon. Earlier, one of the top 4 to be remaining. We saw them in 3v1v1 situation. They were holding and rocking at hand, and in the end could not prevail. Maybe, just maybe, it's going to be a different outcome. But Aogiri looking to take them out early as maybe a competition they stand. But Aogiri, while they have definitely faced some losses in the past, looking to make the present just a bit better.
7 Gaming losing a member towards the down of Hollow, who's been solid inside of that house. But for Aogiri, they've got SH on this top floor. Through the smoke, through the blindness, they'll get their first knock. And 7 Gaming, they're getting aggressed on actually here. The Molotov going to be mid-air denied by what looked like the fence, but now they'll re-engage. Hollow already one down and a kill towards their name, but they'll lose Zarif. They'll re-engage on this doorway. The back and forth finish, and Rolf is inside. Samler have to be careful here as we hop back over to Typhoon, who have a player down.
3 downs, 2 finishes. Samler are going off the board. In charts we talk about it, Typhon are looking at absolute tanks. That's going to be our Gary falling to the gun of Taney, as Early Hugh was one of the first players to be taken out this time around. He's looking to have himself a different turn of events. Up onto Typhon, they're looking for a reset. They do claim it successfully, now taking high ground while also sticking together. Our Gary has faced some casualties, with one of their players even falling to a victim to a death and finalization. But now it matters not. We're past it, so look towards making your future as plausible as you can.
I do like Dark Hunter's overall position, kind of focusing on this high ground play to maybe get a pick back at least. Trentantes didn't have the necessarily game they wanted back in terms of game number 1, only 2 limbs towards the name. But they've got a chance now to put this third party on. Typhon used a lot of their resources to heal back up, to re-engage, and even take hold of this building with the mist blocking some of that sightline. It's under 60 players left, and you know, Trentantes, this could be the perfect opportunity to third party.
Only 5 have officially fallen, and 16 teams still remain not in full, but in spirit to say the least, as now moving through Typhon, making an advancement towards bottom bridge, trying to clear out, maybe sneak under and find an element of surprise. But currently, it seems like they're just having themselves a very good time. Now, Agiri, again, the reset here will be necessary. Heal yourselves up. You got out with a kill. You lost a player in exchange, but definitely doesn't make it worth it. But as we speak of kills, Grove, the previous champions of map number 1, will be losing their first player.
MFB Clan getting that knockdown, taking it to 58 on the alive members left to go. But HLRO, excuse me, has the chance to possibly do something weird. Freya Giri wants the revenge, wants to try and catch one of the Typhon players on a weird rotation into the buildings. As MPF Clan, we talk about it. Grove going to re-engage, and Project is going to be the target of the Mini 14.
Ooh, call him Neo from the Matrix. He was dodging those bullets. Not a single one could hit him. Maybe it was the accuracy. Whatever the fate tended up to be, Project lives for another day. Now, Godzilla, just MFP backing off. Right now, they shot their shots, right? They can't do it for a second. The position is revealed, and any second teams could be piling up on them. So maybe a switch of directive, have the narrative go some other way, step those foot, and right now, get yourself into a different ground as we take a look at Typhon. And look, they're still looking handy, they're looking dandy, they're safe and sound, and no one's looking to fight them off just yet.
Still all 16 teams here. This map in Aragel really pulls teams kind of away from each other on those early initial plays, and it's just got a lot of buildings. It forces those window peak fights. Storm on request, very consistent throughout their placements. Like we talked about, first place in stage 2, first place in stage 1, and honestly, their point total is just insane. 74 in that first round, 80 in the second round. They are a very consistent team that you cannot let get hot.
No, you can't. Once they get warmed up, oh, the adrenaline surge. They're in the flow state, and they will not be stopped so easily. Now, Mira here, taking these hills, trying to be the king of them, and definitely giving some issues. But Samler, one of the more consistent teams that has been putting some shivers into the timbers of others, especially Typhon. Many more to fall. Empire were definitely a victim to them as well. Taking these long-range engagements, fighting the Mini 14 will be absolutely huge too. And with combination for some closer range, as we do see them just looking around 360s left, right, and now securing their ground. Again, PUBG, as long as you can find a safe space, you can keep on shooting as much as you want.
I think what's incredible about finding a safe space in this map for a team like Samler, again, they dropped a goose egg. They were the 16th place team first eliminated in that first map. Hollow now has 2 kills. You talk about Rolf, who also has 1. This team has guaranteed themselves some early points. They have 3 out of the 7 kills to start out this game, and they've got one heck of a position to watch for some more.
All right, Fairy Tale, maybe you just get to fit that car through that hole. Maybe not. Yes, you do. Succession comes around, and fast transportation is what you're looking at as we talk about it. 0 kills. Again, they haven't really taken initiative to try and push forward and be the aggressor of any fights, but what matters now is that all of their players are alive. They stacked up on loot, I can only imagine, and they're looking golden. They're rich. No budget for them. They can go all out when they want to. We're in the meanwhile taking a bit of vertical gunfights, trying to shoot out a bird mid-flight. Well, not becoming to their rescue, but still still, at least they're pushing some sort of incentive.
The work back towards the air. Mira taking some long shots from Typhon. They're just taking every single fight they can. It seems like long range, close range, aerial, or whatever in between. Trintantes will get a knockdown onto Mira in Fakeson. Mira is right now sitting as the second place overall team with how many eliminations they ripped out in that game number 1, but a quick exit here in game number 2 could shake up their day.
Smoke on to Fakeson. The fear factor kicking in of a possible loss at this moment when teams are beginning to surround you. Typhon coming in hot, drive-by we call it, and they're looking to be maybe fast, maybe furious. But what matters most is that they traverse this ground, get themselves into, again, a position where they can really sit nice and tidy. As although we hear some shots, we hear chopped chins, and we can see they're shooting their shots at Barbarians. Not much succession, but in the meanwhile, it's A for effort.
Will it be a D for destruction is the question as they re-enter towards the fight. Mira, 0 kills on the name, but they got that res. Fairy Tale get the knock on 2, and here's the swing back from Fakeson. Gets the takedown. The kills are about to come through. The sideways winding fight here from Ayagiri. They've only got 2 players left. They've got 1 kill, but Mira Gaming is just exploding their opponents.
What a performance! Typhon, one of the players going to be left outside the zone. This is definitely not a situation you want to be currently handed as a deck. But what we see is Tiny fall to the side of Empire's Gustav. 1 extra to follow into the grave. 6 foot under as an extra down or 2 will be delivered onto the kill feed. A lot of teams having bouts. It's all around the map, and this is going to be that mid-game we always look forward to as everyone starts to feel a bit more confident. They've stacked up on loot. They have the utility to go into these gunfights with possibilities of winning, and most importantly, they have the ground over you.
High ground is extra tough to deal with as players are starting to drop. We're down to 50 in total. Fairy Tale get a full confirmation along with Grove Street, and the Barbarians are first to fall. 16th place for them in game number 2, but 4 Dogs are in such an awkward position here between so many teams.
Oh yeah, the sandwich, the one between the cheese, the butter, the mayo, whatever you want to call it. We're looking at a 5-star meal here. As many shots to be delivered, 4 Dogs, a consistent 3 team, even throughout map number 2. As Fairy Tale 1, Mira as well, they're exchanging shots. One falls, so does the other. It's trades and retaliations, but Tratentes will be having a bout of their own with Empire, and even finishing one of the players as Shinobi will be dropped down into the grave. Nicely cuddled in currently. 7 Gaming eliminated as the second team out of the 16.
Storm on request pops up when you least expect it. Ayagiri Tree eliminated at 14, but the bloodshed continuing. TBA losing some health bars on that rotation into the rock side as Fairy Tale gets dropped. Remember, Cowan Scene has just been dangerously consistent, but it's Storm on request, burning down a couple members.
Absolutely letting it heat up, and well, Mira Gaming has fallen. Earlier, one of the top 2 teams, now to be quickly delivered and quickly, just nicely booked in a ticket for the dead. They definitely were some sort of powerhouse in the beginning. They definitely shown they can pull off some nice shots, but now is their time to go. It's time for the new age, and Grove Street still putting up.
Dropped almost under half of our members here. It feels like under half with the 36 left alive. And very quickly, a lot of these teams engaging in the third parties. We'll see another member of 4 Dogs drop to their knees. 4 Dogs have somehow found a way to stabilize. In this little run, they've picked up 2 kills in total. But as those nades start to rain in, TBA on the engagement, 4 Dogs takes down 2.
Take down 2, and I can only imagine more to follow. It's a promising team and lineup, both aligned together. 4 Dogs right now. Again, they're hungry. They're looking for some meat to eat. And while they may just be various of what position they hold, we can take a look at Chopchins as they get 1. MFP finishes the job onto another from Grove Street, but Empire are not completely out of game. They're still fighting it out. 4 Dogs, there's 1. That's going to be sold, or rather Storm coming out on request, as you could call it. But a finish on to TBA's Flurries, as it simply is all just crumbling down.
Tough spot for TBA here to try and recover. Only 2 members, you can see for Croscow, nothing in terms of the grenade inventory. Just the heals, just the gunfight, just this Ace 32 in the pocket. Season player laying down, that's the first. Ready for the rock swim, goes for the finish, and gets the double. Why not? That is going to fall them down to their final player, and TBA is dropped, but not for doing some damage.
Oh, here comes Samler from the very top, and a lot of kills from Chapchins as they do believe to annihilate Storm, and they're going to be facing a lot of defeat. Tratantes do fall to the hands of Samler. Their name will be the top of the game, and currently we are left down to the top 9 teams. About a third of the lobby remains, and everyone just fighting for that placement, as now it really matters.
A couple surprising team eliminations, though, for Storm on Request, a back-to-back game where they stack up as 4, they all die in quick succession, and now all of a sudden we are down to, as you said, just 9 teams, 2 outside of the top 7, and Empire Gaming, they were one of the early targets of aggression. They have stabilized really nicely.
Gotten back onto balanced ground, not going to be stumbling no longer. And Grove Street, I believe there's going to be only 1 or maybe even 2 at most players to alive. Squinzy falls to the guns of Seifu Xiong. But eventually, it will come down to quantity. And we talked about it, numbers may matter, although Project earlier proved that that doesn't always tend to be the case.
Excited to see how those solos perform in these late game scenarios, and for a lot of teams, especially Samler, that did not have a good game number 1, and might be facing a little bit of tough effort here in the midpoint of game number 2. Ombre dropped to the ground from XP. Gustav is going to pull out their own weaponry to try and battle back, but the setup positions, XP is ready for a double kill.
A double kill, absolutely huge. And well, 9 teams. We talk about it, and soon it's going to be dropping to the 8, maybe 7, maybe even lower. Those is what matters most in these final. It's all across the circle. No one is going to be playing that mid-center like we saw earlier from Grove, but rather just sticking around the edge, absolutely berating with nade shots as well. Samler falls to the hand of Sterpikul, and now the 9 team is gone. 1 more before the placement actually matters for point-wise, and then the current position they're currently at might be the next, but I don't think that will be the case, as Savage do get eliminated.
Did get a knockdown on the member of Grove Street, but we'll see if that res can come through. The tough thing for MFP, they used all those nades to get that kill confirmation, and now stuck in an awkward position. Empire, they are the kings of the hill, raining down every bullet storm they have left, and Grove still fighting from their position, and with Project still alive, it's still very much a winnable scenario.
Winnable it is. There's chances. Maybe it's not impossible, but it's down to probabilities. And Empire sticking it to the very top of the hill. Still taking some shots and also lives in the meanwhile. Sata will be dropped, eliminated, down to a heartbeat, maybe flatlining him too. But that's about to come in any seconds as Fairy Tail are feeling the pressure in the center of all attention. They might be in crisis mode, but that's just what gets the blood pumping.
Crisis needs to be averted, though, in terms of losing a player. They had Seifu knocked down to the ground, but did get them back up. So a huge scenario for them. MFB having a really good bounce-back game of their own. Ended in that bottom 8. So trying to bounce back here is they will move their way in 2 players with 4 kills, and we're just drifting. It's taxi driver time.
Holy! Who is hiring these players? What are they being fed? There's no joke about it. Went for a full 180 and started driving backwards, not on a back burner. 4 dogs are absolutely dogging it out. The alphas, you could call them currently. Grover looking to reset. This one player, it may be your last comrade, and you want to value him as much as you can. Project, one of the deadliest players still alive. Keep them in mind. And while Chopchins will be taking initiative to take one from Milkley, that's going to be Empire. An extra one to fall for dogs and MFP. All appearing for kills, and we speak of the devil. MFP will fall. 7 teams remain. Not much longer, as it's only down to 6, and this is where points start counting in.
Empire's up to 7 kills on this game. What a beautiful setup from them. And overall, I mean, for Project, the nice thing is they get that res on their teammate. For Grove Street overall, they are set up in one of the best positions inside of the zone. It pulled more northern, it pulled towards them, And with this zone closing around Empire, they have to be a little bit careful. XP is up on the hill, but little do they know there's a member of Typhon right behind them.
11 alive. Mathematically, that would mean 2 per team. But we can already see Chopchins have 3, so the math is off. Grove as well coming in from the back. Call me Bobby, you're going to be bombed currently. In any second, we speak of the grenades. That's explosive action onto Jembo as Gustav IRL taking it to personal lives and matters. And even long range from Empire as they've been standing strong. They've been constantly in gunfights, but still somehow managed to prevail till the very end phase of being the top 5. And while I'm seeing some similarities, Llama, everyone is taking as much cover as possible.
This is the chance to get those third parties very quickly. You make a noise, you make a peep in the night, and we might just have a one-on-one for this high ground XP. Does he expect it? Well, Sai is going to send their way in, get the knock, and steal away the rock.
Oh, that is just nasty work! Psychog, not expected, and well, it will be an unfortunate tale for one of them, but many more to follow. There's still a lot of kills to be delivered, 9 to be exact, and 1 to remain. That means 8 points for a single player if he can manage and muster it. But look at the spread. Everyone is so close, they're practically making a square in the middle, while everyone on top ground is just looking for an opportunity not only to get themselves as high up in the scoreboard, but at the same time, get this ground, and the second a fight goes off, you know everyone's going to be hungry to get in on it as well.
Empire relegated to only one single player, though, is going to be tough to finish out this game. They only ended map number 1 with a singular point. We've got 2 of our top 3 teams in Grove Street and Chopchins. Speaking of Grove Street, that's their clutch factor. Seifu is going to need to get this 1v1 victory for Empire, and Gustav will send their health bar down to half. Maybe that's the resurrection needed, or maybe that's the sound cue that'll bring in every other team.
Every other team, it's just bait for the lion as you stepped in the den. And Empire, this is going to be a great one. If you can chuck a nade, so he does. Does it connect? No, I don't believe so. It might have been off target for a slight bit. Smokes all around, cover as much as you can. And in the end, it was not a nade. Correction, it was some smoke. Again, it was some variable throwables. Just get whatever you can out there. Make sure that everyone's locked onto Grove. But Grove, again, in the top 5.
They've got both players back up after the throwable spam there. Seifu is actually down to 43 HP, so not too healthy in terms of the fight back. Sai has a chance to go nuclear up here in this high ground position, which will still be in this next zone. It's just a question of, can they find a rock or 2 to play with? And for Chopchins, you have the majority of players. You've got to play the safest, though, and make sure you're not giving up those extra kills by overextending.
Who will stutter and who will fall? There comes the shots in Empire. Gustav takes it. It was an opportunity not to be missed out on. Pitch perfect timing. Well, he does have some returns. There comes the big boy. The Bertha around shoots it. And will it connect? Yes, it does. Finishing the job he begun and not giving a single piece of mercy. Empire will be racking double digits on their kills with a big 10. Gustav with 5. But that follows with an elimination to his name, as Psychog has definitely been the one to always sneak up on his enemies.
It's a huge 1 kill, takes out a team and boosts the overall placement points for a lot of these teams. Guaranteed +4. It's going to be another 9-point game from Grove Street, and just ticking down here, burning away the overall damage, the flashbang as well, as this zone slowly chunks everyone together. Project is going to look for the quick swing, gets the knockdown, but no kill. Grove Street out at 4.
Down at 4, there comes the top shots, and not expected, but it's the top drop they were looking to get Typhon, taking it for they're lacking everything, and in the meanwhile, they know they have to have everyone catching strays, as long as it's not them. That's what matters here for Psychog. He's been the one to deliver a much amount of coup de grace, and there comes the nade, again, trying to flush out these players, looking to catch it right on, and he gets the kill down in the meanwhile. What a beautiful hot potato, as no one expected this pitch point accuracy. Claims it, and even a down. If he gets this last one from Chopchin, it's gonna be a team wipe.
This is technically a one-on-one-on-one at the moment. The reses are available for both teams, but for Psychog, right now is the moment. Needs to lock in, and especially no real loot access. Even though you get those kills, both of the reses are gonna come through. Just a single Molotov. The good news is both of your two opponents are relatively pushing into each other. For Psychog, gotta see if they're gonna still be in that little corner of coverage they have in towards this next phase.
We're in the nail. Fairy Tale, they're having themselves a bit of artillery coming up from the top. Again, Typhon really making sure that those benefits he's been reaping off of are counted in, but soon they will start to fall. That's not enough coverage, and you can't get into a good position. You're going to need to get a move on, and there comes the launcher. Can we get a pop on the nade? Just nicely smokes it out, and currently, get yourself hydrated, because it's about to get wild.
This is it. This is phase 9, a chance to get the chicken dinner for all three of these teams. A bounce back for all of them it would be. Chop Chins could put themselves up to the first place marker with a couple more kills towards their names. They are already at 8, and they will strip down Typhon Gaming. It's a straight up 2v2.
Silent for the dead. Typhon definitely lasted a while, maybe too much for the liking of Fairy Tale and Chop Chins, as now they're gonna have the final 2v2. Again, the first drop will matter most, as the nade connects. Fairy Tale lose it, a finish onto him, and as long as you can nicely clinch onto this final player, throw your nades, make sure he can't heal, and have a piece of headspace for a single moment, he will be absolutely flushed. But this is where Bobby, the name indicates it, he shoots it, it does not connect! Winner, winner, chicken dinner, and we have the finish from none other than Chop Chins coming in top number 1 in map number 2. As wow, that was definitely quite intense in the very end stage.
That was lovely. I mean, we had the kind of high